Nearly all of my garden is raised beds. However, I also have a whole bunch of grow bags spread all throughout my garden to continue learning as a gardener. So in today's video, I'm gonna share with you why every garden benefits from having grow bags in it, and then I'm gonna walk you through exactly how to set up your very own grow bags for this season. So the first big reason to utilize grow bags is to inform the big investment. And what I mean by that is putting in raised beds or an in-ground bed, any kind of permanent structure is a huge undertaking and comes with a larger investment as well. So before making that big investment, consider actually growing out of that area for a season in grow bags, just like I'm doing right here in Grow Bag City. See, I used to have trees that went up right here. And so for this season, I'm just testing to see how good of a growing area this is to determine whether or not I want to end up putting a more permanent structure in place. You'll still get a full growing season out of that area, and I promise you it'll better inform those bigger investments that you end up making. The second reason is to expand your garden. See, as you can tell, all of my raised beds are completely full. I've got no more space. However, I've still got cucumbers, squashes, watermelons that I need to get planted. And now while all my raised beds and garden are full, this part of my yard is A, completely empty, and B, I don't use it at all right now. So later in this video, I'm gonna walk you through how I'm gonna utilize grow bags out here to try and turn this area into a bit of a squash and pumpkin patch. Now third, some plants just grow better in grow bags than in raised beds. So peppers notoriously do way better in grow bags than in raised beds like this. And this is actually an experiment that I'm running right now. I've got peppers that are in grow bags, and I also planted the exact same variety in these raised beds right here. And what we can see is that those in the grow bags are already starting to put on more growth, starting to put out flowers, while those in the raised beds, especially this one over here, are certainly falling behind and even struggling a little bit. Now fourth, they prevent unwanted spread. So crops like mint, horseradish, and potatoes, once they're planted, they're fully gonna take over whatever in-ground bed or raised bed that they're planted in. And we can see that right here. This is a potato that's growing from last season, and there's another one in here, a third one over there, and I already pulled a few out from the front of the bed. And they're not only growing in there, but also now competing with the garlic for water, sunlight, nutrients. Those are none of the things that we want. But if we had them in grow bags, then it's gonna be contained into that area and not spread into the next season. And fifth, and you know I love this one, experimentation. Because it's such an isolated environment, there truly is no better way to go about experimenting than in grow bags. Whether it's testing different soils, different fertilizers, or even different methods like the depth that you plant certain crops at, all these experiments are going to provide you with new learnings, and as you stack one experiment on top of the next, each and every season, you're going to get better and better as a gardener, and your bounty, harvest, and yield is only going to increase each and every time. So if you're still not convinced that grow bags will benefit your garden, then I'm sorry for wasting your time. But if you do see the value in it and how it can improve both your garden and you as a gardener, then what I want to walk through next is how to go about setting up your grow bags for the season. So step one for setting up your grow bags is to prepare the soil. And my preference on this front is to go with 75% compost and 25% vermiculite. Simply measure those out into some 5-gallon pails, then you can dump them into a wheelbarrow, onto your driveway, onto a tarp, really anywhere where you can mix them up. And so for context on this front, vermiculite is incredible at retaining moisture. And when it comes to grow bags, because there's so much surface area around it, they're susceptible to drying out more quickly. So by having vermiculite in your soil blend, it's gonna help retain more moisture in there, which is gonna make it a more favorable environment for your plants to be growing in. Now, vermiculite can be a little bit hard to track down. I encourage you to check out like your local hydroponics store because they generally have it more so than nurseries or garden centers. And if you can't get your hands on any vermiculite, then go ahead and substitute it for 1 part Pro Mix, which is a combination of peat moss and perlite. The one consideration that you will need to keep in mind is that it will dry up more quickly, but we're gonna talk about watering a little bit later on in this video. So once you've mixed up all of your soil, step 2 is to fill your grow bags. And on that front, today's video is sponsored by my friends at VivoSun. See, they provided me with 5-gallon grow bags, 10-gallon grow bags, throw those out there, 25-gallon grow bags, and even a 50-gallon grow bag, which we're gonna fill up in a minute. And just take a look at the size of this. This is the 25-gallon grow bag. And as you can see, I can pretty much sit in it and fit in it myself. So let's now get started on filling up these grow bags. So as you can see, they totally vary in size, giving you tons of flexibility for what you plant into them. And in just a second, in step 3, we're actually gonna plant a couple of my favorite crops into each of these different sizes of grow bags. So hang tight for that. And before we do that, first thing that we need to do is fill the grow bags up 3/4 of the way full with our soil blend. Now, I'm actually going to fill the rest of this one up once I've moved it out to the front yard so that I don't have to try and carry 50 gallons of soil through the path, all that type of stuff. But the next thing that we're going to do is add worm castings and 444 organic fertilizer to these 3 bags. So all that you need to do is grab your worm castings, and you're gonna put 1 handful of worm castings into the 5-gallon and 10-gallon bags. And then for the 25 and the 50-gallon bags, feel free to go anywhere between 2 to 3 handfuls of worm castings. So I'm gonna put 3 into this one here. And now the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab my 444 organic fertilizer, and I'm gonna add, again, for the 5 and 10 gallon, about 1 tablespoon of 444 organic fertilizer into each of these. And again, for the larger grow bags, I'm gonna go anywhere from 2 to 3 tablespoons of 444 organic fertilizer. And I know that there's like a million different amendments out there that you could be buying. Honestly, keep it simple. If you go with just these 2, with a good soil that has lots of compost in it, your plants have absolutely everything that they need to thrive. Now, once those are in there, you're just gonna go ahead and scratch that into the top inch of soil. Now let's get to planting. And so for the 5-gallon grow bags, you've seen a few of them already. I absolutely love planting peppers into 5-gallon grow bags. So simply grab your seedling. Feel free to really loosen up those roots. Believe me, I just did a whole experiment on this. They absolutely love it. I'll include a link to that video down in the description. And dig a nice little hole right in the middle, and then go ahead and pop that in. And then grab your soil mixture, and you're gonna top it up, but leave about 1 inch of space at the top of the grow bag. I'm gonna explain why in just a second. And you can compact that in nicely as well. Perfect. Now, just before we move on to the 10-gallon grow bag, there's tons of other things that you could be planting into a 5-gallon grow bag. Think kale, strawberries, arugula, leafy greens. All of those would do great. And so if you'd like for me to put together actually a 1-page guide that walks through pretty much every different crop and what size of grow bag it would do best in, go ahead and simply comment grow bag guide on this video, and I'll put that together for you. So now moving on to our 10-gallon grow bag. For this size, I absolutely love going with a combination of tomatoes plus basil. So I've got my tomato plant here. I'm just gonna remove that lower foliage, loosen the roots, dig a nice little transplant hole, and then pop that in. And now along the sides, I'm gonna dig, I think, 4 more holes here. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. I'm gonna take this basil plant here, and we'll pop these all alongside it. Get that first one in, pop the second one in, third one right here, and number 4. And same thing, we want to leave some space at the top of the grow bag. You're gonna see why in step number 4. Now for a 25-gallon grow bag, you can't take my word on it just yet because I'm running the experiment right now, but I have a feeling this could be the perfect size for growing potatoes. So I'm actually gonna plant 2 potatoes into this bag because I think there's enough space for them to really thrive. So for potatoes, I'm actually gonna dig really nice and deep down. I'm gonna leave about 4 inches at the bottom. And then since we got all that great nutrition already in there, I just have to pop it in, push the soil back over top, and it's all good. And then on the opposite side of the bag, I'm gonna go ahead and also dig down really nice and deep. I'm gonna pop that second potato in, push that soil back over top. And for these, let's top it up. There we go. Now let's run out to the front yard with our 50-gallon grow bag to get it set up. And then I'll go ahead and pop my pumpkins in here to begin building the pumpkin patch. Now I am going to plant 4 pumpkins into the grow bag here, which might be a little bit dense, but if I need to thin them down, I absolutely can. And the other part is that I've got so much room with the grass here to allow the different vines to run in different directions that I actually have quite a bit of space to work with. Perfect, the pumpkins are all set, and I'm gonna add 1 or 2 more big grow bags out here over the course of the next kind of week or so. But for right now, let's move on to step number 4, our second last step for today, which is to add 1 to 2 inches of garden straw into your grow bags. And this is massively beneficial for grow bags because right now the sun would be coming down and it's gonna be evaporating not only the soil from the top, but also all the way around the side. There's way more surface area. So by putting garden straw 1 to 2 inches over top of each of the grow bags, it's gonna really decrease the pace at which that evaporation occurs, which is gonna keep more moisture in the plants, make it easier for them to grow, and just less stressful on you as the gardener. Okay, so the grow bags are now all set. They've got pretty much everything they need except for one last thing to ultimately join into grow bag city here. And so our last step is all focused on watering. And just before we get to that final step, first go ahead and give all your grow bags a nice big drink of water. So using the shower setting, just go ahead and give them a nice big watering. That's gonna help any of the roots on the plants that we just transplanted settle into their new forever home here. And with the garden straw, it's also gonna help prevent it from blowing away. But you don't wanna be doing that hand watering every day. You wanna be able to go on vacation, enjoy your summer, all that good stuff. So our 5th and final step for setting up your grow bags is to set up automatic irrigation. And so to do this, the first thing that we're going to do is move these into the location where they're going to be growing from for this season. And as you can see, all the grow bags behind me are already on automatic irrigation. So we're not gonna go through how to set the whole thing up right now. I do have a full video that walks you through step by step exactly how to do that. And I'll include a link to it down in the description of this video. But just to quickly summarize that, connected to the house faucet is my 4-way splitter. And coming off of one of the zones is a 1/2-inch main line that I've ran all the way through my grow bags here. So now I've got water in grow bag city. So now to connect it into each of the individual bags, all that I need to do is punch a hole into the 1/2-inch main line and then add a 1/4-inch connector. And then we'll add my 1/4-inch feeder line to that and run that out to the grow bag. And at the other end, I'm gonna cut it over there and add a 2-gallon-per-hour drip emitter and then secure that into the bag using a landscape staple. Now, every time that my water turns on, these bags are gonna get watered automatically. And you can actually even bury it underneath the garden straw. And that's gonna ensure that none of the moisture gets evaporated by the sun. And then simply repeat that for your other grow bags. And with that complete, the last thing to do is program the automatic timer so that it turns on automatically. And for this, all that I do is I have it run every 2 days for 25 minutes. And if I get any really big heat waves over the course of the summertime, I simply increase that to 1 time per day. So these 3 bags are now all set up, but you're probably wondering about the pumpkin patch as well. So tomorrow what I'm gonna do is extend one of the main lines that I have in my front garden area over to there, of simply punching a 1/4-inch feeder line into that main line. And then I'm gonna add 2 of the 2-gallon-per-hour drip emitters into that bag since it's much larger in size. And so there we have it. I've now been able to open up a new area in my backyard. I've been able to plant my pumpkins and watermelons that I didn't have space for in my raised beds. And as you can see, I've got a ton of experiments on the go. So if you want to see any of those results over the course of this season and how this whole space fills in, then simply subscribe to the channel here. And if you want to get your hands on some of the exact same grow bags that I'm going to be utilizing this season, then simply head down to the link in the description of this video. I know that you're going to have tons of success with it and ultimately really grow and expand as a gardener. That's all for today's video. Can't wait to catch you on the next experiment video, and I'll see you then.